This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, the topic today that I really wanted to touch um, with everybody is how Flex is going. Flex has been one of our challenging, um, one of our biggest challenges over the last month. And I know we've had people who have been very frustrated with Flex. We've had people who have jumped into Flex after we went live with it, who had never seen it before. We've had a bunch of different results from people. I've talked with a number of people. I know that they've offered a lot of classes on this. I think the more we use it, the more comfortable we get with it. But I wanted to hear from you what you were thinking, but also I wanted to start basically with some stuff that I have seen and some of these things that I have seen that you guys may not even be aware of. There's some tools in here that I think are extremely important, especially, well, for instance, let me just touch right from the start here on listings. Something that you may not be aware of with your listings. So here I'm just pulling up office listings, and I'm going to go randomly into one of this. I'll pick Elizabeth. Now, when you go to your listing and you can see your listings, you see this little arrow down. This little arrow down allows for additional actions. Now, I have a bunch of actions here. For instance, we have full admin service here. You may not be able to have all of these, but you do have some of them. One of them that you have here is this listing activity button. So if you click on the listing activity button, what's really nice about this particular button is it will show you what has been happening with this listing, where people are viewing this listing. So for instance, Flex MLS, 291 people have seen this listing on Flex MLS. This is not going back. It can't pull data from Rapatoni, but it can since we've had this on Flex. There have been 166 emails out of that. It's on 42 portals, and it's been also seen on IDX feeds by 12 people. So people are pulling this things up. It has been saved by 13 people, hidden. Now that's hidden, people not liking the listing, but also hidden by agents. You know, when you review a property and you think it's going to go out on your client's portal, you can hide it because you think this property may not work. That's what that means. You can also see here that it's been shared 4 times, and also what other listings people have been looking at besides this particular listing. This is really a helpful tool. You can also, if you see this here, you can set up an auto email. So you can have this go directly to your client. So say I have 2 clients, my husband and my son, and I can say, I want Brad to see this weekly on Mondays. So I'll get a report every week from Flex on what's happening here. I could also copy myself. If I happen to want it to go to multiple contacts, I could put multiple contacts in here. And then once I set it up and save the button, this will go automatically. Or I can do a one-time email to somebody if I wanted to through that button. I just think this is a helpful tool that you may not be aware of. It's a way of setting up so that your clients automatically are getting results on your listings. So it's a way of having that go up automatically. So that was the first thing I just kind of wanted to share with you. Secondly, I've taken some of these classes, and I think what I have picked up a lot about with Flex is it's basically the name, the flexibility aspect of Flex. So if you're not familiar with this, let me shrink this down so I can use the full screen. Here we go. You can see that with Flex, you can have multiple views, multiple dashboards. MLS has set up a dashboard for everybody. Everybody on this little blue button can have different dashboards. MLS this is the one that they have set up. It's we have no control over this one. We cannot do anything with it, but we can see what they have put on here, and they will periodically change this and update things. So they have things here like introduction, an app for home buyers, Flex platforms, things like that. Then you have your agent dashboard. And when I logged in the first time, I had this set up. I have modified it a couple of times. I have set it up so that, yes, I have this Oregon data share information, which has the quick links, things like that, which I think are very helpful. Some tools on getting started in Flex, some videos on subscriptions and portals, contacts, setting things up. Also the quick links. Now I use that one. Also down here, I have the MLSCO forms. So this is that residential form that we've been talking about that's not yet in zip forms. If you ever don't have it, I know Emily sent that out to everybody yesterday. It's here as well. So you can click on this and you can find all the forms that are not yet in zip forms. They will be in there as soon as possible. They've had it, Zip Forms has had this on their queue for a long time. So this is where you would have a new change listing form. It's a new change order form, updated listing forms for residential, land, farm, residential income, commercial lease, business opportunity. They're all here. These are all the input forms. So that's where those all are. So if you have questions, that's where you would go for those. There's also here these quick links, which I think are really great. When you scroll over the links, if you see the link has a little person, or excuse me, a hand, that means the link is active. So it's working. So all these, but if you look here, if I scroll over homes.com, I just have the arrow. It's not active yet. I can't log onto that, but I can onto Supra. This is new. The market stats just showed up. So I'm very excited about that. These are the stats. This is the info, some of the reports that I do. It's not the trend report. The decision was made, I guess, I was not a part of this, but the decision was made not to continue with the trend report, which is kind of discouraging to me because I use it all the time. But I do have this report, which we can use. Also the list track. So if you've never set up a list track for your listings, this is another great tool that you can use. There's a link to ORIF, the data share information, and also at the bottom, it's realtor.com. So the quick link to realtor.com to make sure all your information is accurate on there. This is all very, very helpful information. So besides the agent dashboard, I also have my own home. This is my default. So when I log in, it always goes here first. And I've set this up for the way I use Flex the most. I'm always looking at, this is the hot sheet for all of our shared data feeds. So this is pulling information not only from local, but also from Oregon and Falls. This is the hot sheet that I have set up for just what we were used to seeing. Crook County, Jefferson County, and Deschutes County. So our local Central Oregon market. I like to use this more than I use anything else. Over the weekends, I'm a little discouraged because they do not show 24 hours. It defaults over the weekend to 48 hours. So the data, even though I may have show for 24 hours of hot sheet, it will pull up 3 days worth of information. I guess that's 72 hours. So I actually prefer the 24 hours, but that's what it is. Then I have, of course, here the office listings that I use all the time. And then my saved searches. Now I only have my husband on a portal, and I'm looking at lots for him, 0.1 to 5 acres, and that's on, so that's something I look at. I then also set up a hot sheet for Ben Premier. So I wanted to make sure with, this is something I do as an administrator here. I want to make sure that the other offices are crediting appropriately all of our sales. Sometimes they don't. I catch mistakes that sometimes they, every now and then will credit themselves for a sale that we were involved in, and so we have to report that because we do want our office to be credited appropriately and our broker credited appropriately for the sale that they do. I'm sure you guys have used this. This has been shown plenty of time, the menu. So this is the menu on everything that you can set up here in Flex, and anything that you are going to be using all the time, you can click on this little star, and then it will show up on your saved top part of your search bar. So for instance, I clicked on InfoSparks. I'm going to unclick it and it disappeared. Now I'm going to put it back on here, and you see it's on the top now, and it's going to be on the top regardless of what dashboard I'm using. If I'm using the agent dashboard or the MLS dashboard, it's always up there. I can set up a dashboard of all kinds of things. For instance, one of the things I've considered doing is setting up a dashboard exclusively for hot sheets or for these reports. I'm looking right now, these are reports that I'm using. Inventory for the City of Bend residential. I follow this all the time. Prices for the City of Bend residential. And then inventory for residential general. This is all of all of our shared database. So I find that interesting too. There's also some links down here to Inman that I find helpful. If you've never set up for this, how to customize your search, you can do this through this button right here. You know that you can add another box. These little boxes are called gadgets, and you can add your gadget by clicking this box, and all of a sudden you have a new gadget that's going to pop up here. You can then decide what you're going to put in your gadget. Are you going to put it into your contacts? We already have one there. I can have a gadget set up for my sent emails, my messages. I can have a gadget set up for hot sheets, which I already do. I can set up a gadget for a forum, for listings, my listings, listing carts if I wanted to use that a lot. I already have a gadget for the news, for Inman, but I could set up one for other things. I could set up a gadget for searches that I would do all the time, statistics, and I have that one set up for inventory and prices. I don't have it set up for solds and absorption rates and all that sort of stuff. I can find it anytime. Third-party stuff for Inman or anything else that I may have. So if I wanted to set up another gadget onto my home or onto any of the other categories, so the other dashboard I have control over is my agent dashboard, so I can set one up on either one or both. Again, I've heard of people who've set up a gadget and a dashboard exclusively for hot sheets on all the different categories they search all the time. Residential in Bend, residential in Redmond, residential in Sisters, or land. It could be set up for farms. It could be set up for all these sort of things. So I just find all the stuff is very helpful, and you can just return to the dashboard anytime. My gadget did not stick because I didn't save it, but if I had saved it, I would have another gadget here. So that's one of the things I find very helpful. I also find it extremely helpful because everything in Flex is geared around this little bar right here. I can start typing anything. So if I start typing my name, it should pull up immediately my name. If I start typing up an address, say 550, here go 550, all the things connected with 550, the address 550. So there's one in Medford, there's one in Hope Vista, Pal Butte. And it goes by the most recent on top to below here. Here's a pending thing in Cave Junction. So it's very helpful just to use this tool here, finding the name of somebody, finding, yeah, here's one here, my sent. Here's one that's, I think, interesting, my sent emails. So if you're using your portal a lot for things, it will show anything that you have sent out or has gone out automatically by your portal. So here are things that are going out the portal to my husband. And I can see here that it was viewed. So he did view this. This particular one, I was testing things, obviously. But if you ever wonder what's going on with your portals, this is a really quick way of checking this out. It's a category called My Sent. So again, if you go back here, if you use this a lot, it's one of these little things that you could set up to go on your dashboard, on all your dashboards, My Sent emails. So I found that as an interesting little tool as well. I also find interesting the way they have set up Flex to do so much also based upon the quick search. Everything is geared around that and this button ahead of it. So the quick search is set up, it will default to the last search you used. So in the case of the searches here, for most people, it sets up to go to the residential search. And so the residential search, again, is pulling up by default active contingency, active short sale. I could have had it set up to do a lot of different things here. I can set up, if I wanted to see my pending and my closed, I could do that too. Now you guys may not have seen this little thing also. This little arrow, it by default, it goes to 366 days back. If you click on this little arrow, you can put in a category. So if you wanted to go back a certain amount of time, just say you wanted to go back say March 1st of 2019 or March 1st of 2020 makes more sense to me. Things like that. Or you can click on this little button and say, I want it to go how many years back, how many days back. You can set it by default to go back 30 days. 30 days, excuse me. And then by default, you would have it going back 30 days. These little arrows, you can, again, set that up for different things. And I think that's very, very helpful. For my hot sheet for Ben Premier, I have it set back to go back 30 days. And so it's always, when I log in, it's only 30 days. Now, people have also asked about this. What about when I search, I like to search for residential and land at the same time. Again, you can have a multiple property search and you can set it up to be whatever you want in here. So if you like to have residential and land, you can have both of those clicked. I don't want mobile home, so I'm going to get rid of mobile home or just mobile home, or I want residential, land, all of those, none of those. You click those little control buttons or the shift buttons to have what you need in there. The way I understand this works the best, guys, when you're doing your searches, it's like a book. You work from the top down and from left to right. And so when I'm searching here on, say I want to search for residential in the city of Bend, residential city of Bend, I can then specify what sort of things I want to look for. If there's a specific section, say I want to look in Northwest Bend, each time the categories, the numbers go down a little bit more. I can set up for a current price. Say I need 500,000 to 750. Now I'm down to 69. If I have anything in particular that's important for me, in addition to that, say there's additional field I need to have searched regularly, I can add a field. So say for my client, it's important for them to be living in a contemporary home. I can add this architectural style or contemporary. I can say or contemporary, or I can say not contemporary, or I can say and contemporary. So architectural style, contemporary. So we're down to 31 at that point. So 31 right up here. I find that this is very helpful. I can also click on here, do a target, excuse me, right here on Jewel, excuse me, I can do a radius search based on that. And then I can blow it up and look at what's available. Once I've done that, that's when you start using the map. This is what I've been picking up on. And at that point, once you now have the map set up, you can at that point, or you can add that to your search, because now the radius, you can add that to your search and it would be pulling up here. So I have a shape now, a circle. If I don't want that, I can get rid of it. There's just all kinds of cool tools with this. Have you guys found this helpful? Let me open this up so I can see what you guys are thinking about it. Does anyone have thoughts about it? If you do, feel free to kind of unmute yourself and tell me what you're finding helpful, or if there's something that you think that I could help you with. I'd like to open this up. Anybody?
Linnea, can you go over how you exclude something, like if you want to exclude a subdivision?
Yeah.
Did you already say that? I was in and out of the room.
I didn't. So here, you would click on subdivision. So we got this select. And no, say Broken Top.
Yeah, I mean, if I was like, a lot of people say, okay, I want this, but I want to exclude DRW. So how would you exclude that?
Yeah. So I'm still limited down to Bend. And it's like the same thing as far as like an architectural style. When you get it pulled up here, it's like the architectural style, you can say and, or you can say not. So you could be excluding at that point. So it's the same thing. And for some reason, my computer has frozen up on me. God. But
Has anybody else figured out how to do that?
It would be the same way as far as I know here. The architectural, wait.
Dana, I think you click on of Broken Top, that word right to the right of subdivision, or it will then say
Not.
top.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, and then the other question I have, and maybe you went over this before, is how can we search Bend and exclude Three Rivers South? I mean, is there a way that MLS can make a category for Three Rivers South like we used to have? I mean, I know you can go, I guess, and exclude 97707.
That's what I've been doing, Dana. I just
Yeah,
exclude
me too.
07.
So you just go into, you punch in 97707 and then you click that and or, and it should
Yep.
exclude it.
Not, you put not.
Is there a way that, why hasn't MLS gone back to that or made a category for us?
For the not,
For Three Rivers South.
part of that has to do with when they did the combination of all the shared database, something that we were doing before we called addition. Additions went away with that. It was not something that was normal for Southern Oregon or for Klamath Falls, so they did away with additions. We have subdivisions. So I think this is what you were talking about here, the subdivision name.
Mm-hmm.
Again, my thing is just not working well.
So Linnea, while you're navigating through that, one of my biggest obstacles has been trying to do radius searches, and I know it defaults to 1 mile, and I'm having a heck of a time with that. You know, I know you can put the MLS number in, go to a map, click on that, or you can do a radius search, but I'm just wondering if others are having a big challenge with trying to do a cost market. And I know we have our own cloud CMA, but I'm finding that it's taking me 2 or 3 times as long to do a cost market and pull up the right properties and the information that I want quickly. You know, I mean, I can spend 2 or 3 hours on a CMA anyway, and it's taking me 2 or 3 times as long. I'm just wondering if anybody else has a quicker way of doing radius and pulling up listings, you know, more easily than I am.
Any ideas, guys? Any helpful hints that you guys have found?
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, both Kathy and Dana, this is Rob. Hey, what I've been using is just, it might work for both your situations, is the map option, you know, to exclude Three Rivers South, because I noticed that too, Dana, when you do Bend, but you don't want TRS. So I've just been putting a quick square just around Bend, you know, out to Alfalfa and north up as far as you want to go, and just to exclude TRS that way. And also, yeah, I know what you're saying a little bit, Kathy. I haven't used the radius that much, but I've just been doing a quick square or, you know, customizable map around whatever I want to see in there. So that's kind of been my workaround for those.
So my question is, after you do the radius search and it's a mile or whatever you draw your square or circle, I just come up with a huge list. And the other problem is if you try to go back and add, if you put in an MLS number, for example, and you're searching within a mile of that property, and then you put pendings and closed, it doesn't give you an option of a date as to how far you go back, and then suddenly I have 2,000 listings or something.
Well, then you would use on your closed on, for instance, here, you would use your dates, like the close date.
But if you're doing a radius search, I can't find that option, because the radius search that I have used when you put in an MLS number is that it will then automatically default to a mile, and it automatically defaults to all closed and all pendings, and you end up with a ton of properties.
Right. My understanding, Kathy, the way you do this is you set up all your criteria on this side of your search before you start doing anything with the map. So if you would set up your close date, say you wanted to go only to 1/1/2020 for your close dates, and you're only going back that far, then you're going to get very few searches, just the ones that would have closed from this time. And then you can view your map. I mean, that should be what I'm looking at right now, just the closed in Bend since 1/1/20. So
I know, I was just trying to do a quicker version, and I think they're lacking on that when you go up to your search bar up there, for example, and you type in an address and then, or an MLS, you can do it by MLS number. And when I've done that, it defaults to a mile. And then if you want to add pendings and closed, it brings up everything. So it would be nice if there were a quicker way to do that instead of going into the left-hand version here and putting in all the criteria. See what I'm saying? So if you wanted to do a really quick radius search, you can't, because it defaults to all closed and all pendings and actives in a mile.
okay.
So that's a different way of doing a radius search than doing what you're doing now, and it's a quicker way, but it's just, you end up with too many listings. I was wondering if anybody else figured that out, how to minimize it, or if it's something they could think about changing and putting dates in there that you could do that instead of going in here to the left-hand version. Because a lot of times on a radius search, you just want close properties that are active pending. You may not, want beds, baths, square footage, all that stuff. So anyway.
Yeah, I wish I had better ideas for that.
I have something that I thought was really neat on the Flex MLS. I'm not sure how many people have done a CMA, but I did a customized CMA for a client getting ready to list her house, and I was just really impressed how quickly and thoroughly the report turned out.
So what did you do that was so good about that, Catherine? How did you do it?
So when you do it, I went through and picked properties, saved them in a listing collection that I thought were comparable that I've sold and currently for sale and pending. And then I went on there and clicked on CMA, create CMA, and then it gives you 3 options: a full CMA, quick CMA, and statistical. But the full CMA, oh my gosh, it gives you a cover page. It does a map of all the listings that you have on there that you've picked. It gives a graph. It compares the subject property to each comparable property, like the square footage, size. It's just lays it all out, just in a really neat format. I was really impressed.
So you did a couple, like you picked out some things based upon your list of you thought were comparable. So say you did
Correct.
A price, and then you
it did square footage, price, size of lot, bedrooms, baths. I went through and found homes. I went and picked the homes in that subdivision that I thought were pretty comparable, whether it be square footage or things like that. And then hit the Create CMA button, and then did the full CMA report. And where is it? Gives you a cover page and the picture of the property, that if you have a picture of it, that you're the subject property. Then it gives you a map of the subject property and comparable properties and color coded, active, sold, pending, withdrawn, canceled, all those, and then the addresses of the comparable properties. And then
I'm trying to do this. We talk here. And it's like, yeah, that sounds.
Oh, it was just, it was amazing. So yeah, and on each page, it'll do the subject property. And then I think I had like 8 properties that I compared it to. And then it listed each one. Yep. The list price, what it's sold for, the bedrooms, bathrooms, just all the statistical data. It was, and the picture of the house. And then it gives you graphs, and then it gives you a recommended price too. Based off of that. Yeah. This is really, and then, cause I did the full one, and then it gives you each like a full, what is that? Like the full report of each individual comparable house too. Like you would print off to take to, a showing appointment or something.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's just in a PDF, and you send it over, to your client. It looks really professional.
So they've talked about each.
It was good. I also like our cloud CMA to use, which Linnea made available to us as well. And you can also always do the one through RPR, but they just have a ton of information. But yeah, it's pretty. The CMA is pretty good on this. It's just, what I find, it just takes longer to find the properties. It's not as easy as it used to be in Rapatoni.
Is that what you did here, Catherine, the download PDF?
Correct. Yeah, you download the PDF. Let me see what you're looking at. Yeah, no, I hit it's the CMA in the top right corner.
Right, that's what I did.
Oh, you did, okay.
Yeah.
And then did you click on the full CMA?
And it didn't give me that option.
Oh, it didn't. Yeah, see on mine, when I hit create CMA, it let me see, what does it say? CMA, and then it pops up. Oh, I put use all results on the CMA.
Here, use all results.
Yep, at the very top, use all results, and I clicked all the ones I wanted. Yeah, and then it's the full CMA on the left. It's all automatically, and it gives you.
Just this, that's all you did, full CMA, and then the next step?
And then it gives you statistical average field options at the bottom, right? And yeah, and then you can pick. I think I did total living area, square footage.
Total living area.
I think that's, yeah, that's good. It was the default.
And when they have that quick CMA, there is like our old 3-up comparison that we used to have on Rapatoni.
Okay.
Yeah. And the full CMA is, for, listing.
Okay. So is this pulling the stuff in there that we're talking about?
Let me see.
It doesn't seem to do anything.
Oh yeah, and I didn't change anything of that necessarily. It gives you an option to, I think I kept going on that.
Yeah, it's not giving me anything here.
No way to move on. Next step.
No locations found.
Do you have any properties? Yeah,
I had clicked all, I had all these ones here, these 7 ones right here.
Are they all clicked? Okay.
Create CMA, and you said use all results.
Use all results. And then the full CMA.
Yeah.
And hit next step.
And I just filled in for Joe Smith.
Yeah, perfect.
Next steps. Oops. Oh, I don't have a subject into comparison. I guess that's
right. Yeah, I had a subject property on there. Yep. That's important. And if it's been previously listed before, it gives you the option. There you go.
There you go. That's right. That doesn't work. unless I have a property there. There we go. Yes. So the next step then, okay.
Oh, add compare. Yeah, there you go. So you can go through and you can take ones out if you want, or, you know,
Okay.
but you can leave them all in too, but that gives you an option.
Okay. And then any adjustments you wanted to make, I guess is the next step.
Yeah, and I didn't do all that. If you want to take more time, you can dive deeper into it for sure.
Okay. I've got a lot of things I'm looking at here, it looks like.
Right. You have a lot of comparable properties. Oh, I don't know. So there was the recommended price it just gave you, yeah. So,
Mhm.
and then you can go and say what you want. But yeah, hit view.
Mhm. Very
And it gave
cool.
me an option to have the picture at the front and to customize it. So I had the picture of the house on the very cover page.
Very, very nice. And then it's showing the
Yeah.
comparables.
Yep, and then there's the subject property, and then the compare on each page it shows the subject on the left and then the comparables to the right of it. So
Really cool.
yeah, and it gives you an option when you put in the subject property. It'll say, do you want to enter in this, you know, the specifics, or is it use a previous MLS number to pull those up? And so I just used the previous MLS number, and it generated all the square footage, size of the lot, and the picture and all that. So
Very good. Thank you. Thank you for that.
yeah.
Another thing I found is I did the chat a couple times to ask questions, and the nice thing about that, it stays there. So whatever you've asked before in the chat box, it
Right.
stays there, so you can go back and reference it if you forgot it or whatever. So that's been pretty helpful. I've only used it a couple times, but it's been of help to me.
Yeah, I've done the same thing. And like I pull up my chat and my messages are still there. So for instance, I'm having some issues right now with, I think, the feed between Flex and our company website. It's not updating every 15 minutes the way it's supposed to. And so, yeah, I'm working on that right now. And it's problematic because we're used to having all of everything updating on our company website every 15 minutes. And according to our website right now, they're saying the issue is coming from Flex. It's not coming from them. So we never had problems with Rapatoni, but we are right now. So I'm working on that. The information is accurate once a day, but that doesn't work when we're using it as a portal and expecting everything to be updated 15 minutes. Yeah. Does anyone else have some good tips and things that they're finding is helpful?
I finally figured out how to edit a search with a contact, which I was having difficulty with. And I find the contact management is definitely a little bit more challenging too than what we were used to. So,
so the contact management here, and again, I only have my husband. He's my only contact.
right.
But I have found that when I set this up initially for him, and I was doing that during the initial training, and I have found it to be very, very helpful. I mean, I can see that, you know, I can see what he's been looking at. I can view what he's been seeing. I can look at the things that have been going out to him. So again, we're looking at land. I'm being able to see all that sort of stuff, so I can see what he's been looking at. And then I can edit his search by just pushing these buttons here to edit what I'm pulling at. For instance, instead of 0.1 to 5 acres, I could hit this edit button and I can change it to whatever I'm looking at. And as long as I save it, then it becomes the new search. So I can edit it at any time. So is that helpful at all? So say I decided that he needed to make sure that he was in a certain section of town, say he wanted to be in northwest section, and then I save it, then it becomes the new search. Yeah. So what are the problems have you been having, people? If there's things that you're not, if it's not working well for you, that I can research and get back to you, I need to know what that is so I can help you with that.
Good morning, Linnea. It's Angeli.
Hi, Angeli.
Hi. Hey, quick question. I don't know if I'm missing it. Is there any quick links to dial or a way to add that on?
Actually, there is. If you go to CRS, it
Okay.
takes you right to all the property information that's in
Right.
Deschutes County.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
That's a great tool to use.
Okay.
If you've never used CRS before, it's I have that on my agent dashboard, and it's wonderful. It's the CRS stands for oh gosh, what is
Port retrieval system.
Courthouse Retrieval System. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's also under here, the MLS Tax Suite. So you click on it, you're on a new page. And this is a fabulous tool. You can see CRS data here. So you can put in anything that you're looking for. So this one, Bristol Way, must have been using it for something. It will pull up all kinds of fabulous information for you, from the size of the lot, comparables. You can do a CMA with this. You can also prospect. It can give you information regarding the entire subdivision. You can give you the names of the owners within that subdivision, so that, and you can also download labels through them, or get the information that you can print out for labels. And I think you're allowed to do 5,000 per month, if I'm not mistaken, so for free without any extra cost. It's a great, great, great tool. And if you ever have a chance to take a class on that, it's like right down here, View Deschutes Assessor Summary of Account. So that's pulling you right here to the dial, right from the CRS data. Gives you all that information on these people, whoever they are.
So how do you make that a quick, like, how do you put that on your agent dashboard as a quick link?
When you go to property, it gives you an option at the top of CRS, RPR,
Oh, yeah.
all those. You just click on it.
Right, I've done that, but there's no way to put it up on your agent dashboard, like just that CRS as a quick link?
I don't think so.
Right.
Okay.
CRS Advanced Search,
Oh,
right
There you
here.
perfect.
So now that I have it up here, there it is. So yeah, that's how you would put it on your dashboard.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Any other thoughts and questions that anyone would have on this? Things that you're finding helpful that would be great for all of us to share together, or things that you're frustrated with that we can research and get back to you.
Linnea, Kathy again. So there is a class this morning right after yours at 10 o'clock to 11:30, and it's how to transition from Rapatoni to Flex.
Right.
Probably worth going to as well, or viewing or whatever.
I've taken 2 of those classes, and it's been very, very, very helpful. Again, the guy who does the class, I'm assuming it's the same guy, he worked at Rapatoni before, and so he knows what we were used to seeing on Rapatoni, and he knows now that he's at Flex. For instance, they don't do necessarily, they do portals, but they call a portal access to a website. They call a subscription when you're actually getting the information from us, like a subscription to newspapers. So it's some of the trends and some of the terminology, how they all work it. And he's the guy who keeps on talking about it being, Flex is like a book. You read it top to bottom, left to right. So you do everything on the left side first before you do the actions on the right side. You set up what you're looking for. So I'm looking for, I'll just pull up here 550 Northwest Franklin right here, which is our address. And here I'm looking at this, and so my search here, I can set up my criteria here, and then what I do over here to the right is say I want to email this to somebody, or I want to work on behalf of a client. Say I want to work on behalf of a client I've already set up, that's my only client. So I can then do things on behalf of my husband and send things to him, you know, based upon if I wanted to email, I'm emailing, for instance, an interactive version of this rather than a printer version. And his recommendation was always send them an interactive version so that they could see all kinds of interesting things rather than the printer version, which you'd have to print off to really see it. These are all helpful little tools. And the guy from Flex is really, he's very, very good. He speaks slowly, he speaks articulately, so you can really understand what it is that he's looking. You know, he repeats himself enough, I think you're gonna get it. So if you have time to do that, I would recommend it very much. Anything else anybody's feeling right now? Got a couple of.
I just wanted to mention, Kathy, that the way that Catherine was doing the CMA, the full report, I've done that a few times and have been able to select a radius from the subject property, and it defaults to a year back of all pending solds and actives. And that's been really helpful.
Yeah, but who wants to go a year? It's kind of like the same thing with going back a mile. You know, I would love to see us have the option of defaulting to a different radius search, be it half mile, quarter mile, you know, 3 months, 6 months. Most appraisers aren't going to go back a year, you know, they're going to go back 3 months. So it'd be nice to have different defaults set up. That would be my one thing of input, Linnea, to them on those defaults to make them smaller.
Okay, that's a good idea. I mean, have you tried doing the search, like I said, on the left side first and then doing your radius?
Yes, I've done that too. It just, yeah, it's just not as easy as it was in Rapatoni.
Okay, that would be something if you take that class, there's a chat always with it that you could ask about that during that time. And they should get back with you on it. And if you don't get that information, I will try to get that, because there should be a way of doing it and it shouldn't be that hard. Anything else before we break, guys? I do want to let you know that we are starting to have people do floor in the office, and it seems to be working out okay. For people who don't show up, we are forwarding the calls, but we do really need to make sure you're at a place to take these calls. I have to let you know, a couple of days ago, we did forward a floor call to the agent who was on call. He did not pick up. So we're very fortunate that the lead did call back to our office and was upset that the person who was on floor did not pick up the call. But someone in the office was able to take care of him. If you have signed up for floor and you want people to be, you want us to be forwarding those calls to you, just make sure you're at a place where you can take them, because we would hate to be losing business or to be making people think we're not professional if you're not at a place to take a call. So if something happens that, yeah, this is the time I'm set up to do it, but I can't do it after all, let us know, so that way we can make sure someone else takes those calls. Really would appreciate that.
Linnea, can I bring up something that came up in the meeting yesterday, the MLS meeting?
Oh, the NAR?
No, the MLS meeting yesterday morning. So yes. There was quite a bit of conversation about pocket listings.
Yes.
And obviously they're not being called that anymore. And due to that clear cooperation policy, unless we have an in-house listing that you're only marketing in-house just to our office, you cannot promote a property even at the MLS meeting unless you plan on putting it in MLS or coming soon within 24 hours and that includes Central Oregon Haves and Wants Facebook.
That's true.
So
That's true.
just to be aware that that came up yesterday, and a lot of people were not aware of that policy and how it works. So anyway,
Yeah, I heard about that, Kathy. I heard that quite a few people were caught surprised by that. We have talked about that since November, and we are making sure within our office, any new listings that we have that are coming on, that we are putting a sign up on or putting out in our hidden inventory, anything like that is definitely in the coming soon category. Something to be aware of, however, if it's in coming soon, after 30 days, it will automatically go live. So we have got to make sure that we're ready to go within 30 days if it's in coming soon. So it's important
David?
that, yeah, Dana?
Oh, sorry, I forgot I had my mic on. Do we have time for a couple haves and wants?
Absolutely.
Okay, so first I have is my property on Evelyn. It's in the Murata subdivision.
Yes.
I need to get this one sold as we have an offer on another house and we only have a certain amount of time to get this one in escrow. But it was built in 2014, 1,700 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, slab granite counters, dual vanities in both full bathrooms, nice fenced backyard. We started out at 414.9 and we went down yesterday to 4049, but my clients are very motivated. It's a beautiful home. It does have a community pool and park. It's awesome. So I would really love for you guys to show it. The other thing I have is I have a listing coming up on Monday, but it's a single level townhome in Stonegate. And it's on Addie Triplet. It's got a 0.17 size lot with a huge water feature and nice backyard. I will have some pictures today, and I'm hoping to have it on Haves and Wants. It's about a little under 1,600 square feet, and it is going to be at 440. But I guess they put like almost just a lot of money into it. So, and they're moving out of the area, so they need to. They're also going to be in a contingent offer and need to get it into escrow quickly. So, thank you.
Yeah, I'm surprised Evelyn hasn't gone yet. I mean, it sounds like a fabulous property. I'm just so surprised.
Linnea, I think Elizabeth has her mic on, so we're getting a lot of feedback.
I see that. I'm trying to. Elizabeth, would you mind clicking?
I was trying to say something.
Oh, okay. Elizabeth.
You get on to the Flex training this morning. I'm on site and I can't find it.
Was there
Flex
anything?
training.
Have you go to my messages? You see my little button up here? I have that in my menu on my dashboard. It says my messages. You should be able to find it that's coming from MLS on that. If they have a link or something that you need to use.
Open houses, May survey, nothing.
Because I had stuff in there before. I think I might have clicked out of it. Because,
yeah, I think it came up when you first turned on Flex.
Right.
So maybe log out and log back in.
If you clicked off, if you
already what?
If you click through it, I think it's probably no longer going to show up there. These are things that I haven't actually clicked off on, so that's why they're still there.
So Linnea, question, are we allowed to talk about new listings within our own office?
Oh, absolutely, because that's in office. So,
okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they can't be posted on Central Oregon Haves and Wants unless it's 24 hours prior.
Correct.
Okay.
You can do Central Oregon Haves and Wants for buyer needs or for price reductions coming up, things like that, and new listings coming up, but it's got to be within 24 hours unless we already have it in coming soon. And Emily, if you guys give her paperwork, she will load it into coming soon right away. And it's usually waiting for things like photos. or waiting for marketing remarks, but she will load it in there so people can see it. The brokers can see it. It's just obviously not going out to anybody's portal until it goes live.
So Linnea, I have a new listing I'd love to announce. It's Kathy Hovermail. It's coming on next Tuesday, as long as I have photos back. Brad's doing the Matterport on Monday, and it's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, beautiful, totally remodeled home, custom, contemporary. It's right on 15th Street, across from Ponderosa Park. The address is 240 Southeast 15th Street. It's 2 bedrooms, however, 1,870 square feet, has flex space, an office, utility pantry, large 2-car garage with additional shop, additional storage under the office floor, AC, custom gas fireplace, quartz countertops. This is just a totally tripped out home. The listing price is going to be $425. Don't know if Brad might have an interest. However, I talked to the city yesterday. It's on 0.4 of a lot, and there is potential for either a second home to the south end of the property or an ADU. So anyway, it's a really, really, really cool property. I'm pretty excited about it. And then I do have a buyer need for a client up to $375, cash buyer. And this was a floor call forwarded to me while I was on phone duty about a listing I had that was pending. So I hopefully got a buyer out of it. A 3-bedroom, 2-bath, single story. If anybody has anything coming up in Bend, please let me know. And I also have a new listing in La Pine going active June 16th. If anybody has any La Pine buyers, it's on almost an acre, reach out to me and I'll give you more information on that. Thanks.
Awesome. Keep those listings coming. Those are wonderful.
Yeah, Linnea, I do have a buyer need too. This is Angeli. I have a buyer. We really need a master on the main. They'd like 3 bedrooms with a bonus or 4 bedrooms. They really like Aubrey Glen, cash buyer up to 900, and they're ready to go. So if you have anything, we've seen everything out there. If you have anything coming up, please let me know.
Are they specific to Aubrey Glen, or are they open to other areas?
They're open to other areas. They do like it, but they're open to other areas.
Okay. Okay. Anyone else have something? Other buyers or seller needs?
I have another listing coming up probably next week. It's a single level in Sage Meadow and Sisters, about 2,400 square feet, 3-car garage, RV area, view of the meadow. It'll be around 700.
Sounds nice. Okay, anybody else with anything? Okay, if not, then let's keep it going. And next week, I will be doing a report on what's trending. One of the things that Scott did say, excuse me, not Scott, that Matt said, which is so important, I agree with him, being positive as much as possible out there. I've been posting an awful lot of stuff about positive things that are going on nationwide and then locally too, on Facebook and blogging about it, and anything like that you guys want to share, feel free. We've got all kinds of really interesting infographics and things that are really, really good things to share with people. And also it does make you come across as experts, which you are. You are experts in our economy, you're experts in our local market. You know what's happening with housing here, and housing is still going gangbusters. We've got people who are thinking that prices should be dropping. No, prices are still on the uptick, and it's because we have no inventory. And that's why listings are such a key right now. If people were waiting to list until we're through the pandemic, I don't think we're going to get through the pandemic until we have a immunization, but we're learning how to function within it. And so functioning within it means business continues, and People are still moving. People still need to sell. And this is an optimal time with interest rates still as low as they are so low, and lack of inventory. Sellers can get top dollar. They really can. I know Kathy's new listing, she had got into contract immediately with multiple offers. And so things that are well priced for the market, which is why I'm shocked that Evelyn hasn't been snapped up yet. It's just got to take the right buyer for that one. I'm just shocked it hasn't gone. But things at that price point should be selling immediately. So please let your sellers know that, and feel free to share any of those blogs that we're writing about to let people know that this is an optimal time. Real estate is still really super strong in Central Oregon.
Linnea, I'll piggyback your comment about my Stonegate Loop, which we had 2 really good offers, and got over list on that. And if you have your buyer's hat on and you're in that situation, I saw something I've never seen before. They offered to give the sellers 30 extra days at no rent, just utilities, to sweeten the deal, which was just a great idea. So, and I think if you're working with a seller right now and your people need additional time, either to find a replacement property or they need to rent back while they're searching for a property, I think most buyers are willing to accommodate right now because they're finding that they need to do whatever it takes to work with the seller to get the property.
That's right. That's right. And sellers have to be realistic, however. Sometimes we've lost a couple of sales when a seller has been so rigid on my sale is contingent upon my replacement property, and I'm not going to rent, and you have to be accommodating of my need. And once I get into contract, give me, so many days rent free. I mean, sellers still have to be flexible with that. And we in this one case, we had a seller that rigid that it wasn't until they lost on 2 really strong buyers that they recognized, well, I guess we have to have some flexibility in here. And we're now in contract again, and hopefully this house of cards will actually close successfully. But it's true though, but being accommodating of the need of a seller is a key. We've also had some buyers who are willing to, I never would recommend this, but they've been willing to forgo even a home inspection to make this happen. And I would never, ever recommend a buyer ever do that. Home inspections are such important things. But in some cases, when you have a multiple offer scenario, hey, we're not going to do a home inspection. We're not going to make our house, the purchase contingent upon anything with a home inspection because we're not doing it. Can be the difference. It's scary though. I would never recommend someone do that. Any other tricks that you guys are finding right now that has been helpful? If not, then thank you guys so much, and just let us know if you can't show up for floors so we can make sure that any calls we get are taken care of. Thank you, everybody. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Linnea.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye, Danielle.
Thanks.
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 Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.